Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Will of Gaming. I'm your host Will, and today we are going to be doing the review of Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, which is created by Monolith and Warner Brother Games. Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Is it only for fans that like Lord of the Rings, or can anybody else play it? Find out in this review. The story of Shadow of Mordor takes place between The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings series. You play as Ranger Talon, who guards the Black Gate, entrance of Mordor, with his son. Things get sour very fast as soldiers infiltrate his post, which is also his living area. Talion tries to stop them, but in his attempt he fails, and both his wife and son are slaughtered in front of him. To make matters worse, Talion is ritualistically killed, but is revived by the spirit of Celebrimbor. Celebrimbor is, spoiler alert, the forger of the Rings of Power, and his spirit is attached to Talion. Celebrimbor has lost his memory and needs Talion's help to find it. During the game, you encounter Gollum, or Smeagol, whatever you prefer, who instantly recognizes him as the Bright Master, who forged the Precious, also known as the Ring. Gollum, or Smeagol, whatever you prefer, wants his beloved Precious and realizes that Celebrimbor has lost his memory and leads you and Talion to artifacts that hold fragments of Celebrimbor's memory in hopes he can lead him to his Precious. While Talion is desperate to find his killer, the Black Hand, and get his revenge. That's pretty much the story in a nutshell. There's more, but I won't spoil it for those who are interested. But in my personal opinion, the story of Shadow of Mordor gets 7 out of 10. Mordor in the Lord of the Rings series is a dark wasteland, but in Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, it's a grassy fields and mountains. Mordor is split into 2 sections, and by the time the game reaches its halfway point, you'll be able to travel both freely. Mordor has its beautiful parts, but also has a lot of ugly ones. Aurochs are your enemy in this world, and you'll see a lot of them. You'll see Kargors, ghouls, and grogs, and you'll also encounter spiders, rats, and bats. Mordor has things you would expect. It does rain, it's sunny, it's foggy, and it has nighttime. The game environment does set up the game's tone nicely. The only complaint I have is that the world isn't very big. It's big, but it's not very big. Don't expect Fallout or Skyrim maps from this game. And it does get a little boring to explore after a while, which is why I give the environment a 7.5 out of 10. Sound in Shadow of Mordor is great and takes advantage of the PS4 controller speaker. Now, this game is also on Xbox One, and last-gen iterations are slated for November 18th release, but this is a unique experience on the PlayStation 4. It's not really a must-play experience on the PS4, but it's just a little incentive for you to buy it on the PS4. The sound of the game in general is fantastic, as it sets up the tone fantastically. The Wraith high pitches are excellent to me, but may be annoying to those with sensitive hearing. The voice acting is top-notch, ranging from voice actors of Troy Baker playing Talion, Alistair Duncan playing Celebrimbor, Nolan North playing the Black Hand, and Liam and O'Brien playing Gollum. The voice acting is fantastic, and the music and sound effects do a wonderful job at bringing Mordor to life. That's why I'm giving the sound a 9 out of 10. Gameplay in Shadow of Mordor feels good and it's responsive. While it does borrow combat from the Batman Arkham series and stealth from the Assassin's Creed series, that with the combination of skills you learn makes the gameplay great. Talion is given 3 weapons in his arsenal: a dagger for stealth kills, a bow for range attacks, and a sword for close combat. Since Talion and Celebrimbor are 2 in one body, they both share skills. Talion gets ghost-like abilities added to his moveset called Wraith abilities, which you can develop using the game's skill tree, which is separated into 2 categories: Ranger abilities and Wraith abilities. Ranger abilities are things that Talion can do, and Wraith abilities are what Celebrimbor can do. This adds a satisfying combat system that feels good. There's also another skill tree which uses the game's currency to increase your health, your focus, the amount of arrows you carry, and the rune slots for all your weapons. You gain currency from doing story and side missions. By the time the game is over, you should have more than enough to have fully developed character. From a game that uses a lot of inspiration, the missions however feel uninspired. There weren't really any epic moments where you can say in particular mission was memorable. In the missions, you'll follow footprints or kill an Auric in a specific way and other things, but other than that, the missions are still fun to play. One of the greatest things in Shadow of Mordor is the Nemesis system. Whenever you die by an Auric, that Auric levels up and is promoted and becomes harder to kill. Also, what makes this great is that the Auric remembers its last encounter with you, so when you encounter it again, it will tell you something about the last battle that you had with him to remind you of him. I found this to be a very memorable moment because you feel that each of these Aurochs have a unique personality and different ambitions. Some cool later Wraith abilities let you control certain enemies, which you can use to promote, strengthen, or use to betray their comrades. In the ranking system, you got 4 rows with 3 rankings. Grunts, which aren't on the Nemesis system unless one kills you. Captains are what grunts get promoted to and have control of certain areas of the map and control a small army for you to fight. And finally, the War Chief, which is the highest rank an Auroch can go. A War Chief only comes out when certain requirements are met. For example, kill 15 enemies in stealth, and the War Chief appears. Each Auroch has their own personality, strengths, and weaknesses, and you can find out by gaining intel from other Aurochs. Gaining intel is essential if you want to kill a War Chief. Some weaknesses are scared of betrayal, fear of bugs, fear of fire. Strengths can be invincible to stealth kills or range attacks. Knowing strengths and weaknesses is the key to your success and a key to controlling the battle. This may seem like a lot, but it really is not. Trust me, it's easy when you actually try it. Defeating anyone on this board gives you a rune, which you can use to equip to a slot on your weapons and slightly turn the odds in battle in your favor. Side missions are unique in their own way. Unlike story missions, these are categorized. Survival missions have you gathering certain plants, hunting missions have you hunting certain creatures throughout Mordor, artifacts have you hunting certain artifacts, Ithilden, which are hidden symbols that can only be found in Wraith mode, liberation missions, which you free slaves, and finally, missions specific to each of your weapons. There's a lot that you can do in Shadow of Mordor. That's why I give the gameplay an 8.5 out of 10. There is no multiplayer in Shadow of Mordor. This is a single player experience. However, it looks like there's going to be DLC in this game's future, and a season pass is available if you enjoy the game. So in conclusion, do you have to be a Lord of the Rings buff to play this game? No. The story really doesn't have a lot of characters from the movies, and this mostly follows the path of Talion and throws a few references here and there, but overall, I had fun with this game, and have about 47 hours clocked in. I had fun playing Shadow of Mordor, and I believe you probably will too. Now, some Lord of the Rings fans may not enjoy added story to the lore, but that it shouldn't discourage you. Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor is a great experience, and it's definitely worth a play. Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor gets an 8 out of 10. It's a great experience. Thank you for watching.